Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Grim and Guilty. On April 18, 2016, most of Midlothian, Texas was awake. A fitness instructor named Terry Leanne Bevers pulled into the parking lot. Everyone called her Missy. She was 45 years old, a mother of 3 daughters, married, and deeply involved in her community. Missy was known for her energy, the kind of person who signed up for 5 a.m. workouts not because she had to, but because she loved it. She taught Camp Gladiator fitness classes, usually outdoors, pushing people to start their day stronger than they thought possible. That Monday morning, storms were rolling through North Texas. The night before, Missy messaged her class to let them know that the workout would be moved indoors, inside Creekside Church of Christ. It seemed like a small change. It wasn't. Surveillance footage shows Missy arriving at the church at approximately 4:18 a.m. She enters alone, carrying equipment, preparing for a class scheduled to begin at 5 o'clock. But Missy was not alone in that building. Police later released surveillance video from inside the church, showing another person already inside, and they had been there for a while. The footage captures an unidentified individual walking through the church halls dressed in what appears to be police tactical gear, a helmet, vest, boots, gloves. Their face is completely obscured. In their hand, a hammer. What immediately stood out wasn't the outfit, it was the behavior. The person didn't rush. They wandered. They opened doors, peered inside rooms, breaking glass in display cases, then casually move on. At times, they almost seemed bored, like they were waiting for something. Investigators believe this person is Missy Bevers' killer. Shortly after Missy enters the building, something happened inside the church. There is no public footage of the actual attack, but when one of Missy's students arrived just after 5 a.m., they found her body. Emergency services were called, police responded. Missy Bevers was pronounced dead at the scene. She had suffered multiple puncture wounds to the head and chest. From the start, the case raised immediate questions. Police quickly ruled out robbery. Nothing of value appeared to be taken, and the damage inside the church didn't line up with a typical break-in. The suspect's movements didn't show urgency or panic. It looked deliberate. Investigators began to believe the person inside the church may have been waiting for Missy specifically. In most cases, attention first turned toward the people closest to her. Missy's husband, Brandon Bevers, who was out of state on a fishing trip in Mississippi at the time of the murder. His travel records and timeline were verified. Her father-in-law, Randy Bevers, was traveling in California. His alibi was also confirmed. Public suspicion briefly focused on Randy after reports surfaced that he had taken a bloodstained shirt to a dry cleaner just days after the murder. But police did test the shirt and confirmed that the blood belonged to a dog, not human. Investigators accepted his explanation and officially cleared him. Law enforcement had repeatedly stated that Missy's immediate family is not considered responsible. As detectives continued digging, they expanded their focus beyond Missy's physical surroundings and into her digital life. Police subpoenaed her phone records and reviewed her communications. They discovered messages exchanged through LinkedIn, some flirtatious, others intimate. There were also messages described as unsettling, which Missy had reportedly shown to a friend just days before her death. Investigators have stated publicly that they believe Missy may have been communicating with her killer. The identities of the people involved in those conversations have never been released. Another potential lead emerged in the weeks that followed. In May of 2016, Midlothian police released a still image of a dark-colored sedan believed to be a 2010 to 2012 Nissan Altima. The vehicle was seen in the early morning hours near SWFA Outdoors, a sporting goods store close to the church. Later that year, full surveillance footage from the store was released. The video shows the vehicle entering the parking lot during the same early morning window as the murder. The driver circles repeatedly, flashes the headlights, parks in a remote area, remains there briefly, then leaves. Investigators describe the behavior as unusual and potentially significant. Whether the vehicle is directly connected to the suspect or someone assisting them has never been confirmed. One of the most unsettling aspects of the case remains is the disguise. Police tactical gear is not easy to acquire casually. The person in the video appeared comfortable wearing it, moving in it, and using it to avoid detection. This raised the possibility that the suspect had prior experience in law enforcement, military service, or in private security. This line of thinking eventually led investigators to look into former Lancaster police officer Bobby Wayne Henry. Henry had previously served as a tactical officer and told police that he had still owned his riot gear similar to what was seen in the surveillance footage, though he claimed it no longer fit him. He was also a licensed security guard and worked Missy Bevers' funeral. He attended services at the same church. Henry had been suspended from police work years earlier following an aggravated sexual assault allegation. He reportedly owned a vehicle similar to the one investigators were seeking information about. Viewers of the surveillance footage noticed that the masked individual appeared to walk with a limp. Henry was known to have a similar gait. Police consulted a forensic podiatrist to compare Henry's walking pattern to the suspect's. The results were inconclusive. No charges were filed, and Henry has never been officially named a suspect. Years later, the case remains open. Police say tips continue to come in from both local residents and people outside the area. Investigators have described some leads as promising, but details have not been made public. The reward for information has increased multiple times over the year. Initially set at $10,000, it later doubled, then rose again. As of 2001, the reward reached $150,000. Despite clear surveillance footage, a suspicious vehicle, and years of investigation, no one has been arrested. The murder of Missy Bevers remains one of the most well documented unsolved cases in recent history. Police maintain that the investigation is active and encourage anyone with information, no matter how small, to come forward. In Atchison, Kansas, there's a house that has drawn paranormal investigators, thrill seekers, and skeptics for decades. It's known simply as the Sallie House. Named after a spirit reportedly hunting its walls, this house has earned a reputation as one of the most intensely haunted residences in the United States. The story begins in the late 19th and early 20th century. The house itself was built in 1867 and has changed hands multiple times over the decades. But it wasn't until the 1990s that the house became infamous, following the occupancy of the Skobrowski family. Joe and Ina Skobrowski purchased the home in 1993, hoping for a fresh start. According to reports, almost immediately after moving in, they began experiencing strange and disturbing phenomena. It started small. Objects would move on their own, doors would slam, and lights would flicker without explanation. But it quickly escalated. The Skobrowski reported seeing the apparition of a young girl in the home. She was described as pale, small, with dark hair and intense eyes, and she became known as Sally. At first, her presence seemed relatively benign, almost playful, but over time, the activity became aggressive. Items were thrown, chairs tipped over, and one family member reported being scratched and bitten by an unseen force. One of the most striking aspects of the Sallie House hauntings is the physicality. Unlike many haunted locations where activity is limited to sounds or shadows, Sally's presence has been linked to real world injuries. Investigators have documented scratches and bite marks appearing on visitors and residents, often patterns that suggested intentional targeting. People entering the home reported sudden drop of temperature, feeling of being watched, and a presence that would follow them from room to room. The house drew the attention of paranormal investigators, including Todd, a local researcher who documented extensive activity over several years. Investigations included video surveillance, audio recording, and personal monitoring, capturing EVPs or electronic voice phenomena of unexplained voices. Some recordings appeared to capture a child's voice, sometimes whispering, "Get out," or other unclear phrases. Objects would move on camera, seemingly on their own accord, and lights would turn on and off without any electrical cause. Not all witnesses were in the home for extended periods. Neighbors and visitors reported a sense of unease near the house. Some claimed to feel watched or to hear faint crying. Others described a dark figure seen through the windows, vanishing when approached. One investigator even claimed a chair flew across the room like he was documenting activity, narrowly missing him. The history of the house is murky, but some of the attempts to connect Sally's present to the property's past. The history of the home is murky, but some have attempted to connect Sally's presence to the property's past. Records indicated that a young girl may have died nearby or on the property long ago, though no definitive documentation confirms her identity. Paranormal theories suggest that Sally's spirit could be an imprint, an energy left behind by trauma, or perhaps an active consciousness interacting with those who enter the home. Skeptics, of course, question the reports. Some suggest psychological influence, misinterpretation of ordinary events, or even hoaxes designed to attract attention. But the repeated reports of injuries, combined with the detailed documentation by multiple investigators over the years, keep the case in the realm of the unexplained. The house continues to draw attention. It's been featured in numerous documentaries, television shows, and books on paranormal activity. Some families have lived there since the Skubrovskis, reporting varying levels of activity. Investigators occasionally return to test new equipment and document experiences. And the legend of Sally persists, a cautionary tale, a source of fascination, and for some, a very real encounter with something beyond explanation. Visiting the Sallie House is not recommended for the faint of heart. Those who go often describe feelings of fear, heaviness, and tension upon entering. Equipment malfunctions are common, and multiple accounts describe the house actively responding to people, moving objects, opening doors, or creating physical disturbances. Whether it's a spirit, residual energy, or some unknown phenomena, Sally's presence is said to be unmistakable. Today, the Sallie House stands on a focal point for paranormal study. It's a house that challenges the boundary between folklore and firsthand experience. People continue to be drawn to it, not just for the thrill or curiosity, but to witness something that defines controversial explanation. While some dismiss it as legend, the accounts of injury, recorded phenomena, and ongoing activity suggest something deeper. Whether you believe in spirits or not, the Sallie House remains a compelling case for anyone interested in the unexplained. For those intrigued, the house is private and respectful documentation is necessary. Researchers continue to study the phenomenon, logging incidents, reviewing footage, and monitoring the home for activity. The legend of Sally, whether ghost, energy imprint, or something else entirely persists, a chilling reminder that some places carry the weight of history in ways we cannot fully understand.